Hey and hello friends, welcome back to another video. So by the time this one comes out, it should already be the beginning of 2026, which means new goals and new art resolutions. And one of mine have been to do more studies because my style has been feeling a little stagnant lately and I've been wanting to, sort of reboot my process for a little while now. And because I also want to make more videos, this is a great opportunity to just mush the two together and bring you guys along as I just play with colors, play with shapes, mess around, see what works, see what doesn't, artsy stuff. And I thought that would be fun. So today we're gonna start off with hair because I love drawing hair and I love coloring hair. And I found some really nice Pinterest tutorials that I've had saved for who knows how long, as one does when they procrastinate and save things that they intend to use but don't, and then you realize later that you haven't done it and so it feels wasted. And so now I'm sitting here making a video about it. So yeah, this is the first installment of I don't know how many others, but there are a couple of other topics I would like to cover. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them down below. I think that's all the intro stuff, so I'm gonna roll the footage and yap to you guys over there. Okay, so here we are in the speed paint portion of the video. So I'm just gonna loosely talk over some of the pre-recorded footage from my study session and kind of loosely explain what was going through my head at the time as best I can so that hopefully you guys can get some info out of it, and if not, I hope it's at least fun to watch. So, yes, hair. So the first thing I did was grab a few references from Pinterest. So I found these really elaborate wigs with some pretty cool hairstyles that I thought would be kind of fun to break down in closer to my style. But like I said, still trying something new because I've been feeling a bit art blocked in that area. So one of the first things I do with studies like these is I loosely trace the reference, and by trace I don't mean like strand for strand or anything. As you can see on screen here, I'm just kind of dividing the hair into chunks. That makes it a bit easier to kind of understand how it's flowing and how gravity is, interacting with the with like how the hair is styled and everything like that. And it's also just easier for my brain to process. So the first thing I do is break it down into chunks and try to first identify all the tension points. So tension points is just points of tension on the head where the hair either originates from or is being pulled back to. So for instance, like the top of a ponytail, or like where a scrunchie is, maybe a hairpin or a ribbon, or even if you're just like if your hair is like part of your hair is on top of your shoulder and the rest is falling behind your back, that's also a tension point because it's pulling the strands away from each other. And the hair will likely flow in the direction that gravity will pull it, as most things do. So with these, I have color-coded them to make it a bit easier to see. So I separate it into 4 parts: the front bangs, the top or the crown of the head, the side curly thingies, I don't actually know what to call them, I just call them side bangs. So the side bangs and the back of the head. Of course, this doesn't apply to all hairstyles. Some, as you'll see later, and some textures don't even need to be split into this many parts. But I kept it to 4 just to keep it simple, and sometimes you'll have 3, but almost always you're going to have the crown of the head, or where the hair is growing out of the scalp, and the back of the head, or the back hair. Some hairstyles might not have bangs, some might not have side bangs, but you'll always have the top and back section in some form. know, the ironic part is I actually started out this study session wanting to specifically focus on male hair, and I only ended up drawing 2 models. So if you guys would like to see a follow-up video that's like just exclusively doing like practicing dude hairstyles instead, let me know, because that would actually be really fun. And I could like do some like curlier styles or like different cuts. Yeah, that was just gonna be a fun video. Let me know. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But anyway, for this one, I don't exactly know what this cut is called, but because it's significantly shorter than the first 2, you don't have to adhere to like the laws of gravity as much, because stylization, baby. So for this one, I just kind of let the strands do whatever they wanted. They just get to fly off in like every other direction and look all cool and edgy and stuff. But same rules apply though. Tension point here was at the middle of the head, and since this was more of a top-down angle, you're actually seeing a lot more of the crown. So not as much back hair showing, and not as many side bangs, because I had to like actually rethink which sides of this model would be considered like the front and which were the sides, because the bangs were just kind of all over the place. I guess this is a messier look, so it makes sense, but I still just kind of color coded it the way that it made sense to me. Again, if you are doing this style of practice for yourself, I just recommend breaking down your reference in whatever makes the most sense to you and helps you, you know, draw these different strands, or chunks rather, in perspective, which is why I'm color coding them all, because it makes it a lot easier in the future if you wanted to like turn this in a 3/4 view, or from the side, or even from like above or below. It's a bit easier to see which parts are moving, kind of like you're rotating it like a Rubik's Cube, sort of. And plus, colors just speak to me. So my brain processes things a lot easier when I can see it in color. Okay, so this section is for all of my 3C to 4C girlies, aka curly or I guess coily hair. So as someone with this a similar hair texture, I can confirm that it is a lot. It's really fun to draw. It's a lot more fun to draw than it is to maintain, I will tell you that much. But for these tighter coils, or I guess kinkier hair textures, the chunks get massive, so you kind of have to break them down even bigger in order to get any sort of readability. Details are just seldom added at this stage, and you just kind of have to save it for later and trust the process. So for this first hairstyle, the same rules apply. I first used all our same colors, laid out where the front and the top 2 sides and the back portions were. And for this, it was really easy because the model had like these 2 side braids that led back into matching afro puffs, which was super cute. I love these. I love all of these hairstyles, actually. But for that, she had a middle part. Actually, she had a cross part. So I just loosely lay down where those are, and it really helps to like lead the eye to where the bigger chunks are. I don't know where I was going with that, but you can see it on screen. Again, we have our tension points. Obviously, the afro puffs are going to be pulling all of the surrounding hair towards, I guess, where that braid stops, where the braid ends. So I just marked those down in blue as usual. And all of these pages, I will post them later, so all of them will have notes. So just as a reminder, braids and twists tend to create natural tension on the head. The same applies to like our first example with like the wavier hair, but whereas those the gravity tends to pull those down in like soft curves and waves, with curlier hair textures, the hair tends to poof out a bit more. It likes its freedom, so it tends to puff outwards as opposed to hang downwards. which is a lot of fun. It creates a lot of fun silhouettes. So for the second one, basically the same thing. This was a similar hairstyle, except she only had the middle part and there was a braid there as well. So I just counted that entire area as a tension point. Or I guess that's more like marking the root of the hair. So it's parted both left and right towards these braids, which again circle back to the tension point in the back. It all connects together. As for the back of this hairstyle, I had a bit of trouble differentiating where these three braids kind of met. It was like a half up, half down kind of look. So I got kind of lost in this area here. So it's not the most readable, but yeah, whenever I'm doing curlier hair, I just kind of have fun making all these like cloud shapes, and depending on the coiliness of that particular style, I might use looser like S curves and C curves, or I might make them like really close knit and tight. It really depends on what the reference looks like, but all in all, it's pretty much the same process all around, still color coding these same sections. So you see on this model, there isn't really a bang section, or at least it's not visible from this angle. So we just have, well, I guess there is. I marked a little bit, but it's mostly just the top, the sides, and the back. So again, perspective really affects the way a style looks, obviously from like angle to angle. So that's why I highly recommend color coding your things, or at least simplifying them down into shapes that make it easy to remember and rotate in like a 3D space. Okay, and here we are in the final section. Woo! So for this, I just picked one of the sketches that I did before, just a color block section, not the original like breakdown. I just took the basic color blocking and sketched over top of it to do a color test, or more like a rendering practice, one of the two. So I don't really have too much to say for this one. I basically just took my favorite style of the ones that I had studied and just decided to finish it up and see if I could change anything from my usual rendering style or process. So it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I do have the step-by-step PNG version linked below if you want to take a look at that there. But yeah, I think this is mostly where the voiceover will end. I'm just gonna dip out and let you guys enjoy the time lapse. So yeah. that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All the fun YouTuber-y things. I think that was all of them. If you'd like to see a part 2 where I do more guy hairstyles, yeah, let me know for that too, because like I said, that sounds really fun and I would love to give more practice. Be sure to check out my webcomic Princess Patissier. I will have that also linked down below if you'd like to give it a read. Upload schedule is bi-monthly, at least I'm aiming for that, but a new page should be already out by the time this goes up. So yeah, give that a read if you're interested. I will have links to all my socials down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!